saying is you guys were right. That's what we're saying. You
no,
were right.
Molly, you did not say that, Molly.
I'm saying
no,
it.
That is what you said.
You
That's
did not.
what you
That's
said.
not what you said.
She don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Let her
It got so bad yesterday, the Seattle Storm, they pulled their starters so she couldn't get that double
scoreboard, so I think everybody's pretty aware of what's happening. I mean,
some crazy things have been happening in women's basketball, and right now, Caitlin Clark is making the biggest headlines. ESPN is upset about Caitlin Clark's latest decision to spend time in Europe, and it's causing quite a stir. After an incredible debut season in the WNBA, where she quickly became a fan favorite, Clark has decided to take a break and head overseas. Instead of following the expected path, Clark is taking control of her own career, and not everyone is happy about it. In today's episode, we'll dive into why her decision has caused such a reaction and what it might mean for her future in basketball and the WNBA. The way she's handling her career, particularly her decision to take time off and head to Europe, has caused quite a stir. It's become clear that Caitlin is taking control of her future, and not everyone is happy about it. In particular, both the WNBA and ESPN seem to be quite frustrated with her recent moves. After all, Caitlin has been one of the biggest attractions in women's basketball. She's box office gold, someone who brings in viewers and headlines wherever she goes. Yet, instead of sticking around and playing by the traditional rules, Caitlin is embracing her independence, and this seems to have left the league and the media feeling out of sorts. It's important to remember that Caitlin Clark has had to deal with a lot off the court as well. There have been several situations where she was unfairly caught up in controversy. Take, for example, the drama with Sheryl Swoopes. Even though the situation didn't really involve her directly, Caitlin's name was constantly mentioned. Time and again, she found herself dealing with challenges that had nothing to do with her game. Despite this, she has consistently risen above it all, proving just how tough and focused she is. Now, after her debut season in the WNBA, Caitlin has packed her bags and headed to Europe for the off-season. This move has clearly frustrated ESPN, which seems to think they should have a say in what she does next. Their reaction to her decision has been described as nothing short of a temper tantrum. After all, ESPN has not always treated Caitlin Clark with the respect she deserves. Despite her being a top star in the league, their coverage of her hasn't always matched her level of success.
The media and the players having to deal with it and deleting their accounts, and to have an app that does it for them now, and just to really have to deal with this every day when all they want to do is go out and play the game. I think it's terrible, and I feel for them. And first of all, a lot of them need social media to help in terms of their marketing capabilities, and so it's difficult for them. They shouldn't have to go through it. I've been so impressed with the product on the court. Over 200% viewership increase since Caitlin Clark has come in, and it's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Angel Reese, and it's so many more of them as well. And we can go back to the, college basketball and the NIL. That's really what helped in terms of making Caitlin Clark's profile even greater than it was.
And now, with Caitlin out of the picture for a while, WNBA viewership has reportedly taken a hit. We are eagerly waiting to see what she'll do next. The big question on everyone's mind is whether Caitlin is leaving the WNBA for good. Some rumors have suggested that she might be considering joining a European basketball league. However, there's no solid information to support that claim. While news outlets and social media buzz with speculation, Caitlin herself has remained fairly quiet about her long-term plans. What we do know is that Caitlin has embarked on a 200-day vacation in Europe, which has left many wondering if she'll join a European basketball team while she's there. Nike, one of the biggest brands in the world, quickly recognized Caitlin's potential and signed her to a massive $28 million contract over 8 years. This deal alone brings Caitlin $3.5 million annually, a number that dwarfs her WNBA salary. Nike saw in Caitlin a player who could not only dominate on the court, but also resonate with fans and consumers off the court. But Nike isn't the only brand that has partnered with Caitlin. She has also secured deals with major companies like State Farm, Gatorade, Buick, and more. These deals have made her one of the highest paid athletes in women's sports. While the specific numbers for some of these contracts haven't been made public, it's clear that Caitlin is bringing in millions of dollars through her endorsements. These partnerships are a testament to her marketability and the widespread appeal she has. Despite her success in securing endorsement deals, Caitlin's WNBA salary paints a very different picture. Playing for the Indiana Fever, Caitlin earns just $76,000 a year from her WNBA contract. This number highlights the ongoing issue of pay disparity between the WNBA and other professional sports leagues. While WNBA salaries have been on the rise in recent years, they still lag far behind what male athletes make in the NBA. Even high-level WNBA players like Caitlin are forced to rely on endorsement deals or opportunities overseas to supplement their incomes. This financial reality has led many WNBA players, including legends like Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, to play overseas during the off-season. European teams, particularly in countries like Russia, Turkey, and Spain, offer significantly higher salaries than the WNBA. In 2015, for example, Diana Taurasi made $1.5 million playing for UMMC Ekaterinburg in Russia, a number that far exceeds what any WNBA player makes. Caitlin, too, has been offered lucrative contracts to play in Europe. This has caused a stir among WNBA fans who don't want to see one of their brightest stars leave the league. However, the financial incentives of playing overseas are hard to ignore, and Caitlin may very well decide to take that opportunity. As a star player for the Indiana Fever, she has quickly made her mark in the WNBA. While the decision of whether she might go overseas looms, it's clear that Caitlin Clark's journey so far has been filled with highs, challenges, and immense learning. She is only 22 years old and already holds the attention of the entire basketball world.
For the WNBA, let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings. Here's what Sheryl Swoopes had to say. Look at this quote here. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexie Hull. I'm a big Lexie Hull fan. Lexie Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings, end quote. So no, Caitlin Clark.
One reason Caitlin Clark might consider playing overseas is to get away from the relentless scrutiny that has surrounded her for over a year. Ever since she led Iowa to the national championship game, Caitlin has had little time to rest. She immediately entered the WNBA as a rookie, and people began analyzing her every move from day one. Whether it's commentators, fans, or even opposing players, everyone has something to say about her game. That constant pressure can be draining, especially for someone who has not had a break from high-level basketball for nearly a year. Going overseas could offer her a fresh start, a chance to step out of the spotlight for a while, and regain the joy of simply playing the game without the extra noise.
What do you think about Ice Cube and the Big Three offering Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in their league?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. But the first one is you offered the contract to a player who's not yet even in the WNBA. Big Three does not happen during overseas season. So that doesn't make sense.
That's true.
And then for us to get just constantly shit on, you can't even acknowledge the growth and how amazing the WNBA is doing because shit like this happens.
When is
you didn't even have to
over?
bring up the W. If you're gonna say that it's for that, then stand on that. But I don't think I think he's trying to make a business decision, which he's a businessman, that makes sense.
There's also the question of the environment in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark has faced some challenges beyond just basketball. The WNBA, like many professional sports leagues, is not free from political and racial tensions. While the league has been at the forefront of pushing for social justice, it can sometimes put players like Caitlin in a difficult position. As a prominent white athlete in a league where most players are black, Caitlin has had to navigate these complex dynamics. This tension can take a toll on anyone, especially a rookie who is just trying to find her footing in a new league. While Caitlin has handled it all with grace and professionalism, the exhaustion of constantly having to be on might make her consider a different path for a while.
Second-year head coach, in the second year of a rebuild, when I went through this with Pokey Chapman as the head coach in Chicago, and we had a couple years. It took us 3 years to get to the playoffs. In that fourth, fifth year, we were in the semis and the finals. The world that we live in today wants results now. They want you to be good now. And that was the hardest piece, was just trying to keep our players.
Caitlin's coach, Christy Sides, has acknowledged how challenging this year has been for her star player. Christy has praised Caitlin for her professionalism and mental toughness, noting that she has carried herself well through all the ups and downs. This praise from her coach is well-deserved because Caitlin has been through a lot in her rookie season. Even commentators like Ryan Ruwako have marveled at her focus and intensity on the court.
Wheels around, evades Van Lith, and drains it! My goodness!
Ryan famously said that Caitlin looked possessed during some of her games, which speaks to how locked in she was, despite all the challenges. One moment that stands out from Caitlin's season was her interaction with Kim Mulkey, one of the most respected coaches in women's basketball. After a particularly tough game, Kim hugged Caitlin aggressively at the end of the match.
7 dude, he come up on him like this. Women ain't even dunking, bro. That's why ain't nobody watching that stuff. But Caitlin Clark putting up numbers, she's competitive.
So if Caitlin Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem, I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that.
It was a gesture that summed up the admiration Caitlin commands from her peers and opponents alike. Even when you're on the other side of the court, it's impossible to not respect what Caitlin brings to the game. Her opponents may not always like facing her, but they can't help but appreciate her skills and the way she plays the game. Caitlin Clark's stats this season speak for themselves. Despite a slow start, she has turned things around and quickly established herself as one of the top players in the league. Caitlin is not just a scorer, although she is very good at that. She's also a fantastic playmaker.
Safe to say that Caitlin Clark really benefited from the Olympic break. She put up 29 points, helped the Fever fend off the Mercury, and rally to that 98-89 win in front of a sellout crowd at home. Her and Kelsey Mitchell combined for 10 three-pointers in the fourth quarter. Here is what Caitlin Clark had to say postgame.
Kelsey Mitchell was huge in that fourth quarter. You and her combined for 10 threes. How important of a role did she play in closing this game out?
Kelsey was awesome. I mean, she just steps up in big moments. That's just what she's done. She's done it all year. And
she leads the WNBA in assists and has been instrumental in helping her teammates perform at their best. Players like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston have benefited greatly from having Caitlin on the team, as she creates opportunities for them that weren't there before. Caitlin's ability to elevate her teammates is what sets her apart from other rookies. Offensively, Caitlin has been a powerhouse. The Indiana Fever went from being one of the lowest scoring teams in the league to one of the highest, all because of Caitlin's presence. The Fever now rank third in average points scored per game, trailing only the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty, two of the best teams in the league. Caitlin has tied with Kelsey Mitchell as the team's scoring leader, averaging over 19 points per game. She also leads the team in assists and steals, which shows that she's doing more than just scoring. She's making plays for her teammates and playing hard on defense. But Caitlin's rookie season hasn't been without its challenges. She also leads the league in turnovers, which is something she will need to work on as she continues to adjust to the professional game. Caitlin has already set a record for the most turnovers in a single WNBA season, which is not the kind of record any player wants to hold. But this is part of the learning process for any rookie, and Caitlin is no exception. She has acknowledged that she's still adjusting to the pace of the game and figuring out how to make smarter decisions with the ball. It's something she will improve on with time, and no one doubts that she will find a way to overcome this issue. One of the reasons Caitlin has been able to succeed in the WNBA is her tireless work ethic. She's a gym rat, always looking for ways to get better. Whether it's working on her shooting, ball handling, or studying game tape to improve her decision-making, Caitlin is always in the gym working to refine her game. This dedication is what has allowed her to make such a smooth transition from college to the pros. Many rookies struggle to adapt to the faster pace and higher level of competition in the WNBA, but Caitlin has shown that she is more than capable of rising to the challenge. Off the court, Caitlin has become a role model for young girls who dream of playing professional basketball. Everywhere she goes, she is met with fans who admire her not just for her basketball skills, but also for the way she carries herself. Her popularity has reached a level where arenas are selling out just because Caitlin is playing. The Indiana Fever have seen a significant boost in attendance, both at home and on the road, thanks to Caitlin's star power. During a game against the Atlanta Dream, the Fever set a new attendance record as more than 17,600 fans packed the arena just to see Caitlin play. The Dream usually play in a much smaller venue, but they moved to a larger arena just to accommodate the demand to see Caitlin in action. This kind of attention is rare for a WNBA player, especially a rookie, but it shows just how much Caitlin has already changed the game. One of the most impressive things about Caitlin is her humility. Despite all the attention and success, she remains grounded and focused on improving her game. Caitlin knows that there is still a lot for her to learn, and she approaches every game with the mindset of getting better. She doesn't let the hype get to her, and she always puts the team's success ahead of her own individual accomplishments. This level-headedness is one of the reasons why she has earned the respect of her teammates, coaches, and opponents alike. As Caitlin's rookie season comes to an end, there's no doubt that she has left a lasting impact on the WNBA. She has broken records, elevated her team, and brought new fans to the league. But Caitlin's journey is far from over. She still has many years of basketball ahead of her, and there's no telling how far she will go. Whether she decides to continue playing in the WNBA or explore opportunities overseas, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent who is just getting started. The decision to play overseas will not be an easy one for Caitlin. There are many factors to consider, from the financial benefits to the opportunity for a mental reset. Playing overseas could offer Caitlin a chance to step away from the spotlight and focus on her game without the constant pressure of being in the public eye. It could also provide her with a unique experience of playing in different environments and learning from new coaches and teammates. And that's it for today's episode. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell while you're down there.